Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Coaching Call podcast. On this podcast, we'll cover various types of coaching by trainers in sports, martial arts, fitness, and business. We'll discuss each coach's methods to getting the most out of their respective athletes or clients and how they attempt to change the platform in which they coach. Join us on a fun adventure as we discuss unique coaching styles. Coaching is a universal part of how we get others to get something done. Join your host, Rafael, and his guests on this unique journey in coaching.
Hi, I'm Sifu Rafael, and this is the Coaching Call podcast. If you enjoy this episode, please subscribe and leave a review. This episode was made possible by listeners like you. Good morning, Clance. Thank you so much for joining me on Coaching Call. How are you this morning?
Great. Good morning. Pleasure to be here. I am fantastic. Feel great.
Love it.
Got my workout in, got my work in, ready to go.
That's exactly it. Yeah. One of the most important things is getting that workout in, right?
First thing, man, get up and get it done.
Yeah. I was back home by 5:30 because I go to the gym every single morning, right?
Oh, excellent. You're a morning guy too. Me too, man. I was home I got back home at 6. So yeah, it beat me by half an hour.
It's not about beating, it's about doing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I didn't want to wake up this morning, and it's cold outside, so we're in Canada.
It is.
So
You're in Canada, correct?
Yeah, so it was like minus 16 this morning.
We have a lot to talk about. I'm super excited for this. So before we start, one of the things that I always just want to let the audience know, and everybody who is ever listening, that I am super curious, right? So I want to know more about you. And one of the ways that I love knowing is about your childhood. So tell me, where were you born and who influenced you before the age of 15, let's say?
I was born in Jamaica, grew up in Canada, and who influenced me by the age of 15 was actually a photo my dad brought home of a bodybuilder, and I just got hooked. Yeah, and his name is Bad Cat. And the funniest thing, believe it or not, the universe works in mysterious ways. I'm actually married to his niece. She's my wife.
What?
We have 2 kids. Yeah, that's crazy. And we didn't know it. We didn't know anything. She didn't know it. One day she saw a photo of him, and she goes, "That's my uncle. How'd you get that?" And yeah, we have 2 beautiful children, it's just like, wow, blew my mind. Yeah.
That is pretty incredible.
That
How
is crazy.
old were you when your dad brought that picture and then shared it with you?
I was probably about 10 or 11 years old. And I didn't know anything about training, obviously, at that age. The only thing I knew how to do was push-ups, and I used to run track, play football, basketball, soccer, volleyball, plays all kinds of sports. We used to be outside boxing, in the neighborhood. So I grew up in a pretty rough neighborhood. So, fighting was just part of everyday life, and running, getting chased by dogs. So just raising hell, being outside. And that's kind of how I built my athletic base, I would say,
So where were you at 11? Were you in Canada or were you still?
I was in Canada. I got here. I got here pretty. So I was raised in Canada because I got here about 8, 9 years old. Yeah.
That's incredible. It's very interesting because at 8 is when I came to the U.S.
Okay.
And I'm Colombian, right?
Okay, I didn't know that.
We're basically similar in that respect. And so you said you were born in Jamaica. In Jamaica, did you know any English when you arrived?
Well, because we speak broken English, and I just have to say, Colombia has a monstrous weightlifting team. They're like one of the best in the country, Olympic weightlifting, actually. But it's just broken English, and it is English. Just we call it patois. So just different ways to say different things, like yeah man, and then all kinds of different Jamaican terms. Where I go, like where are you going, things like that.
Got it. Got it.
So yeah,
It's interesting.
just broken English, right?
So, so in other words, when you went to Canada, you had to take the broken and put it together.
Put it together. Exactly.
So it wasn't as hard because I'm Colombian from South America, and it was a total different language. There was
I've been to
no similarities, nothing.
Yeah, I've been to Colombia. It was a beautiful experience.
So you saw this image of a bodybuilder, and you said, "That's what I want."
Yeah, I was so obsessed about putting on size because I'm short, I was skinny, but I always was obsessed with being big. And I actually used to box at the local community center.
Mm,
Driftwood Community Center was just like for youth, keep them busy. And I was pretty good. And my coach said he wanted me to stay in a certain weight class because I was short, which makes sense.
right.
I never went back. I never went back. That's how obsessed I was putting on size. I was just, and then you Arnold and I like the old school bodybuilders like
Right.
Serge Nubret was one of my favorite, best body of all time. Sergio Olivier, Robbie Robinson. I don't know if you got your audiences, you won't even know these guys, but those are the
Oh,
type
man.
of those
Those
are the
are the
type of guys.
goats, right?
Those
Labrada. Remember Labrada?
yeah,
Oh my
Labrada, so I grew up on those guys and Lee Haney, so those were the guys before, love Ronnie Coleman, but to
Mhm.
me and to this day, those are to me the best bodies like ever made.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, Coleman hurt himself so badly because but he's still very diligent. He still wants to train every day. The guy, it's in his heart, right?
Yeah, and I love his mentality. He doesn't have a defeatist mentality.
No.
He doesn't feel sorry for himself. He's appreciative for all his bodybuilding has brought him,
Hmm.
and he has no regrets. So it's kind of refreshing to see that. It's
Right.
sad to see him in his state, but his, that's a lesson for all of us. Like just he looks at the positive.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. I like that you said that he doesn't have this defeatist mentality, and
Mhm.
it's still a growth mentality. So at 11, 10, 11, you're watching this picture and you go, okay, I'm going to go for it. What was the first, and you talked about you knew how to do push-ups, right? And thank God for push-ups. I love
Mhm.
push-ups. What was your first take on how do I put on this mask? Did you even know? Did you start asking questions? Did you ask your dad to take you to the gym? What was that all like?
But gym, my my dad knows nothing about the gym. He's
Right,
old school, work hard. He thought I was crazy.
right, right, right.
But he knows I like sports, so and whatever he brought that picture, and it just triggered me. But all I knew was to do push-ups, and then I'm an avid reader, like so I would run to the library, look at Sports Illustrated. Then I got into bodybuilding magazines. See guys like Sean Ray and things like that,
Right. Oh
and
my
go to
God,
the
Sean Ray, what an incredible.
yeah. And I go to the gym and I would just, copy what they were doing. But with that time, I was running track. So track was my main sport. So um, I love track and field. I was fast. And then, so we lifted weights a lot, our track coach. So, and my legs were just starting to get massive.
Mm,
So, and because I love track and because they lifted weights, I was happy. Like so, my track coach's philosophy was he believed in lifting weights and lifting heavy weights, and uh, it was perfect. And he never worried about my weight or anything like that. So
mm,
it was like a perfect storm right there. So what really triggered me when I was young to really get strong, well, to get put on size was I read a Sports Illustrated article on Herschel Walker, and
mm.
Herschel Walker, I think he did like 1,000 push-ups a day. And so the crazy kid that I am, I worked my way up, and I started cranking out 2,000 push-ups a day.
Mm.
And over the years, I would do 1,000 in the morning, 1,000 in the evening, cranking out sets of 10. I mean, sets of 100 at
Right.
10 sets of
At a
100 in the
pop.
morning,
Yeah.
10 sets, yeah, 10 sets. So, but what I didn't know, my chest was crazy. I was crazy strong. I had a bench press at about 170 pounds. I would bench press like 425 pounds when I was 18, 19 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I credit, obviously I didn't know then, but now I'm in the strength game. I understand the foundation, and I run a gym, and you see these kids come in, they want to lift weights, but they don't even have the foundation.
No.
So just a lot of times you can just get that basic foundation that's moving your body weight. So everybody talks about speed and things. You got to learn to move your body weight when you have relative strength. Like chin ups and stuff like that, push ups. Moving your body weight becomes easier, and you can really express your athletic prowess. So I try to get kids back to the basics. On top of the lifting weights in the gym, hey, do push-ups at home.
Yeah. I think that functional fitness is what will take us long term, right?
Facts.
Um,
Facts.
So, what was your eating like? Because I remember when I was around that age too, I was a lunatic. I used to have food in my car right before I hit the gym, and because I would be eating all day long, I'm trying to get bigger and bigger and bigger. At one point, I got to 240 pounds, but I
Wow.
was ripped, right?
Right.
And for me, I used to go to all the bodybuilding shows. I used to have my big camera. I used to go behind the scenes and take pictures and all that
Yeah, yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So I was watching all these guys, and one of the things that I knew is I wanted to get big also. So 240 pounds, I'm 6'1".
The
I was
big
pretty
boy.
decently sized,
Mm-hmm.
but then my life changed in a different way. I've been a martial artist my whole life. Even at that size, I was still a
Oh,
martial artist. So I went more
okay.
deeper into the martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
But the food, constant eating. I mean, constant. Tell me about that.
Okay, so it went through different phases. I ate a lot, but we didn't have the money for so I'd be a creative. Like when I was running track, after we have pizza, I have like a whole pizza myself. And I used to remember our track coach used to bring us to Pizza Hut, and I'd have a whole like 2-pan pizzas myself. Like they were like
Oh wow, yeah.
a certain, and but he liked that because what he said was your metabolism um, is moving, right? We're growing, and I remember one time we go to Kentucky Fried Chicken, and then uh, I ate a whole like
Bucket.
bucket by myself as a teenager. That was crazy. But I thought but he encouraged that, right? And
Mm,
so it was just kind of interesting. But for me, and when I was young, we had, at home we'd have like, we ate a lot of like sardines. Kids don't eat sardines no more. Bully beef, Jamaican food, soups, things like that, oxtail. So a lot of good
mm,
food, but I couldn't eat the way that much at home.
right.
My dad would kill me. I got to leave. So it was kind of funny. Like it was weird. Our track coach used to love to take us to eat, and the sprint group we had. But as I got older and I started to get after track and I started to get into bodybuilding more, I got really big, uh, economic way. Ate tons of potatoes
Mm,
and tons of sardines, and I got huge,
mm,
because sardines were like $2 a can.
right.
Potatoes are cheap, and I would eat that all day. Right, ground beef every once in a while, and that was
Mm,
kind of my go-to. As I got more advanced in nutrition, started making more money, started to get more. I went into the obviously a little bit with the. I can't even breast now, man. Like I can't. I used to eat tons of like, a lot of chicken breast and rice and things like that. So I can't even eat a chicken breast. If I look at it, I want to throw up.
Because you overate it.
At different stages, so food is very important. You want to grow, you gotta give the body the raw materials to grow.
Mhm. So earlier, before we came on live, I was talking to you about somebody that I know, right, Solana, and there's a difference between Olympic power lifter and an Olympic lifter. Can you share with us that, and then which one did you vibe towards?
So the powerlifting and Olympic weightlifting are totally two different sports. So say powerlifting consists of three disciplines: the bench, the squat, and the deadlift. Olympic weightlifting consists of two disciplines. Snatch is that you pick the weight up from the ground, throw it over your head,
Right.
and clean and jerk, you pick the weight up from the ground, put it on your shoulder, and put it over your head. And I am an Olympic weightlifter, and we utilize that a lot in our training because that is the most. You have to be super athletic, super fast, super coordinated. Olympic weightlifting, the Russians call it basically gymnastics with weights.
Mm.
And as I got into the strength and conditioning game, I noticed that when my athletes utilize Olympic weightlifting properly, the proper technique, proper progressions, and so on and so forth, they get super coordinated, super explosive, jump, run, everything. Their nervous system becomes so primed that they become better at their sport. So we utilize that a lot in our training. So a lot of times they get it confused. Oh no, they're totally two different things. Like Olympic weightlifting is fast strength,
Mhm.
powerlifting is slow strength. So moving as much weight as possible, um, from the start to the finish. Olympic weightlifting, yes, you have to move as much weight as fast as possible, but you have to really move that fast in a coordinated fashion to complete the lift. So it's more complex, which make people Olympic weightlifting gets a bad name because it looks dangerous. It looks um, complicated, but if you do it right, it's one of the safest things you do, and you build tremendous durability, dexterity, coordination, timing, everything, spatial awareness. It's phenomenal.
So you chose Olympic, right?
Correct. Well, actually,
And
it chose me. It
that's the
chose
right answer.
it chose me. It chose me because my daughter's Commonwealth Games champion,
Mm.
2000 Canadian champion, Canadian record holder, multiple time Canadian champion. So
Wow.
in Birmingham, England, 2022 Commonwealth Games, she broke two Commonwealth Games records and won the gold medal. It was a big
Wow.
highlight. 2020, she was a top in Canada in her weight class. That because of COVID, it stole her
Mm.
her dream to go to the Olympics based on some classification points. So they sent another. That's another story. But
Right,
you
right.
know, yeah, she ranked. She as a junior, she came fifth in the world in the juniors in Poland. 2019, she was fifth in the world championships. So she's been to the world championships multiple times. We
Mm.
traveled the world all over Russia, Colombia,
Wow.
Ecuador, Uzbekistan. So we've been all over the globe on a national team, Olympic weightlifting on a Canadian national team. So it chose me, and the way it chose me was I brought my daughters to um, like a weightlifting show. It was they had everything there, like
Mm.
like a convention, but one of the primary things was Olympic weightlifting. And girls are at that age. She was about 15, and my other daughter was 16. And obviously the aesthetics, they go, oh, she looks good, and they started to do Olympic weightlifting, and they caught the bug, and one stuck with it, and the rest was history. And so I had to learn Olympic weightlifting really fast because she was getting good, Like, I remember, I said, if at the beginning, I said, she started taking it serious. And I said, okay, if you snatch 35 kilos, this is when she was 16 years old, I'll buy you a pair of weightlifting shoes. She snatched it,
Wow.
bought a pair of weightlifting shoes, and the rest was history. So yeah, and she did different sports, or both of them did, but she didn't know what she wanted to do. And daddy has a gym. She's around weights all the time. So I guess they got attracted to weights. But and then as for me, that's how I credit her for or my kids, both of my daughters, for understanding how important is Olympic weightlifting done correctly for different sports, right? Because I wouldn't have understood that. And one time I was walking in the gym and I was watching them do jerks. So jerk is where you have the weight on your head and you throw the weight over your head. And I see my two babies moving that weight so fast, so explosively. Because that time I was an Olympic weightlifting coach, and so they would train somewhere else, but I'd go see them. And then I'm like, wow. And that's when the bells went off, and I just started to go to work and started to strategically implement certain parts of Olympic weightlifting in my system.
That's incredible. That's awesome. They inspired you to do
They inspire, exactly. So that's why I said it chose me, because with track and field and football, we do power cleans, we squat, we do pulls, but a lot of people, power cleans is not Olympic weightlifting. It's a abbreviation of the full clean, right? And so, that's how I was trained. That's what I was taught, and that's what I implemented with my athletes. But until they went into Olympic weightlifting, I saw a big picture, a big opportunity. And ever since I started implementing Olympic weightlifting, my athletes' power, speed took off, durability took off, right? And a lot of times when I see it, you got to be careful. And I think I am grateful, because I came into it with a different perspective. Like, I'm a strength coach first, right? I'm not an Olympic weightlifting coach first. Right. So I didn't try to make my athletes Olympic weightlifters. And I see a lot of Olympic weightlifting coaches, they have like a hockey player, football player, and they try to make them Olympic weightlifters. They're not. So I think that's what gave me the edge, was I just used Olympic weightlifting to add or expedite their progress where I saw fit, and that's how the results in my gym they just took off big time.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. Thank you for sharing that. And talk to me about the importance of core in the Olympic weightlifting, because that's one of the things I stress a lot with my athletes that I train. How important core is, especially in functional and any either fast twitching or even slow movements. That core is so critical. Talk to me about that.
Well, when I hear core, I think of planks.
Right.
So
no, it's way beyond that.
Yeah. So because
even I know the difference, right?
Yeah. Planks and standing on Swiss balls and all that crazy circuit stuff. If you do a plank in my gym, I'll kick you. They know I'll kick you out. So it doesn't. You stand on a Swiss ball in my gym. So the core is central, man. That's the trunk. You need. So to me, when you mention core, I think of erector spinates, those muscles in your back. That if you look at a weightlifter's back, they have big, strong erector spinates that stand out. And it's not about show, it's about goal. They may not have big arms, and I know everybody wants to have big arms and big chest and whatever, but the core to me is the engine. When you have an athlete who has a big, strong, big legs, that's the foundation, big glutes, and then a strong back, that athlete is a problem. So because they stand on a strong foundation, it's hard to knock them over. Their agility. We get athletes. Oh, they say, how do you, Matt Clance? I haven't done any ladder drills or agility drills, but I feel, my agility is so much more so much more better on the ice or on the field and so on and so forth. We build a strong core. Our athletes squat 4 times a week, period, in our system. Front squats, 2 sessions of front squats, 2 back squats. That's the foundation. That's how you build in core. Anytime you put a bar on your back, put a weight over your head, you have to stabilize that core to move that weight. So that whole core set. So we hardly ever do sit-ups, and like sit-ups and things like that, ab work, that's fine. But to me, that's like the dressing. The meat and potatoes is squats, snatch, cleans, pulls. That's how you build core, not sitting down or bench pressing or things like that, So you stand on your 2 legs, put weight on your back, put weight on your shoulders, put it over your head. That's how you build a strong core. So I get these questions all the time. Oh, I notice you don't do any planks. I notice you don't stand in Swiss balls. But I think that Swiss ball thing is gone out. You see these crazy things on IG where guys are on their skates on a Swiss ball. Like, it's crazy. So and don't get me wrong, I got fooled into that stuff because the core training kind of suckered me in. And when I started to implement it, because it kind of makes sense, right? If you look at it from the outside, okay, all these little muscles have to be engaged to help these big muscles, but we don't. And if you utilize an unstable surface, you're going to work all these little muscles that are not generally worked. But that's untrue. You put some good heavy ass weight on your back, or pull some heavy ass weight. Put some heavy ass weight over your head. Trust me, all those little muscles are going to start working together to move that apparatus, that weight, that load over your head. Right. Yeah. So
that's going to engage for sure.
Yeah, that's how we build core. And another thing with core, we're huge on reverse hypers, back extensions. So every workout athlete is doing some type of posture or chain work. So when you're talking, when you mention core to me, I think the lower back strong. Without even Olympic weightlifting, if you get the lower back strong, you're gonna have a better athlete. And then I train, MMA, judo wrestlers, and so on and so forth. Same principles: strong legs, strong lower back, and then because everything is transferring. Once you have those, that's a good foundation to build everything on. It's like, and then when I see athletes from the top down, they're all big and jacked, muscular, and have skinny legs, no lower back. It's that, I hate to say in a fight, I'm like, okay, good. You know what I mean? But if I see judo, if a martial arts guy with some strong, like a solid foundation, that person's going to be a problem. Right?
Absolutely. Well, one of the things that we do, and I teach Kung Fu, so one of the things that we do, our legs are a big part of what we do for stability, for strength, for core. So we sit in a horse stance, so a wall squat, if you will, without the wall, and we just sit there. And a lot of times I'll have them do different mechanics, different moves. But you're right, the core, the foundation is primarily everything. That's why I love training core. Even in boxing, right? In boxing, you have to be able to pivot and all this good stuff. So you talked about that your daughters were watching. They're at your gym. You own a gym. Tell us how you even decided to own a gym. What was that moment? What was it that you always wanted to do? Or was it that it fell on your lap, or somebody said, hey, I have a gym, you want to open it, or you want to be part of it? How did that happen?
Well, my goal, my dream was to be an Olympian or a professional football player. So when that dream fell apart, I had a bad injury in a 4x100 meter relay race, which was at Anchor in Indianapolis. And I tore my knee in all parts. I was, we're winning the relay race. I got the baton in the lead, and I was opening the lead. Did a little bit of too much of a showboat and relaxed a little bit. Baton hit my thigh. Baton went up in the air. I looked at the baton, and I said, okay, I have such a big lead. I can pick up the baton and still win. Soon as I stop, boom, if
Wow.
I felt like my knee blew up, like it felt like a shotgun going off beside my ear.
Mm,
I was on the ground on the hot track. It was sunny day, and you can just hear the crowd. So this was in States. Track is big in Indianapolis, and you could just the wind, the air just got taken out of the crowd. I was holding my knee. I've never felt so much pain in my life. Obviously, I was embarrassed. I was in pain. And I just knew that day was over. So no matter how I tried to get back, my knee was always swollen. Start training, it would pop out again.
mm,
To this day, I still have um, issues with that same knee. But that's I didn't know what I was. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't have a backup plan. Like I
mm.
was just so singular focused. I trained like an animal.
Right,
That
right,
was
right.
my dream. That was it. But when that got taken away from me, after I got through my state of like rage and anger and depression, um, a dark space in my life, it just kind of, I said, well, if I can't be an Olympian or professional athletes, I can train professional athletes. So that's when I started on the journey.
Mm,
And I always, when I started on that journey, I always had the intention of owning my gym because I wanted to be that person to develop pros, and that's why they call me the pro maker today. So I manifested it from a long time. Like I wanted my number one focus was to produce dominant athletes and help athletes achieve their dreams that I couldn't achieve. So when I see athletes sign a contract, get scholarship, make big, when PK Subban signed his $72 million contract, I was training that kid from when he was 16 years old.
wow.
I see these different contracts. Me being a part of that, it's hard to explain that feeling.
It's a beautiful thing because if you what you just said, I don't know if anybody truly heard you, but I want to make sure that it doesn't get lost, because the journey didn't start for him um, when he signed the contract. The journey started when he was 16 training with you, right?
Correct, correct, correct.
Um, so it's all the work that every athlete does prior to them being recognized as who they are as an athlete. And it's
Correct.
all the work that even your daughter did prior, that inspiration that she got when she was 15. She was the older one or the younger one?
The younger one,
So
she
the
was
15-year-old, right? She was
15.
15.
Mhm.
And but it started from that inspiration, from that moment. It started for you the moment you saw that image, that picture. So
Correct.
there's a catalyst, if you will, a starting point when we see or we feel this vision that starts to live inside of us.
Hmm.
And I love that you shared that because that's so important for people to understand that there is a lot of work that has to go behind the person that you see in front of you, right? For
Correct.
anybody, you see a school teacher, you see an engineer, everybody had to do the work in order for you to see who they are today, right?
Yeah.
Anybody who's famous, anybody who's an athlete, anybody who's anybody that you aspire, you're like, wow, look at them. Yeah, they didn't just show up today. They've been
Yeah, man.
showing.
Champions are built in the dark, man. It's not champions are built in the dark, and the champions are built over years and years of discipline.
Mhm.
And I love the saying by Mike Tyson, discipline is doing the things you don't like or doing the things you hate, but doing them those things like you love it over and over and over and over and over again. So that is a single trait. Forget motivation because motivation goes up and down. The number one thing for me is discipline. And then
Mhm.
to add on to discipline, I like to use this term. Just because you're disciplined, just because you show up to the gym, what can you do better every day? So what micro, that's what separates
Mhm.
the great, the ones that make it, is that what can I do today to be better? So the best athletes have this type of intensity. Like PK Subban, my daughter, you have to hold them back. Like as a coach, you have to know when to push, when not to push, and so on and so forth. All the best athletes I've seen who made it, they just have this intensity and this can't stop, won't stop attitude. And I love working with athletes like that. I never have to motivate them. I never have to drag them to the gym and so on. So they want it, and I was just, so when my daughter wanted it, I was just pretty much along for the ride to guide her the proper way. When PK wanted it from day one, that was like one of the most annoying athletes I've ever dealt with, because this guy, before he put anything in his mouth, he'd give me a call. Clance, can I eat this? Clance, can I eat that? And Clance, why can't we train today? So he helped me develop my system. Yeah, he used to take the bus, before to my gym. Mommy and daddy didn't drop him off, take the bus to the gym, train in the morning, take the bus back, do his skating or whatever he had to do, nap. And then he'd take the bus back down in the evening. Right. No one was dropping him off at the gym. He wanted it. That kid worked his ass off. So everything he's got today is because his work ethic was phenomenal.
That's exactly it. And you talked about earlier that it was cold, but you got up and you went to the gym anyway. And it's doing the thing that you must do no matter what. And that's commitment. And you talked about motivation is up and down. I agree, because everybody's motivated to do something, yet when the time comes to do it, they're like, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yes, yeah. Right.
So, yeah, I love that you shared that with us, because I think it's dedication and commitment, right? And you talked about something really powerful. You talked about champions are made in the dark. 1,000% agree. And sometimes you literally have to shut the lights off so you can use your mind without any outside sources coming in and doing that meditation, so you can see what your day is going to look like. And I'm sure before he took the bus, he was already knowing that he was going to get on that bus. He's going to come train with you, and he's going to take the bus back. But then already before he even went back, he knew he was coming back.
Correct.
Right? Before he went back home, he said, I'm going to be back, because he probably already had it in his mind before the day even took over.
Correct.
So that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, correct. Because, back in those days, there was no social media, there was no IG, there was no, that boy worked. And then, once we got in, I didn't even have social media. It's like this client I used to train, he said, Clance, you got to be on social media. People got to know about you, blah, blah, blah. So I started slowly, being on social media. And then my daughters got into Olympic weightlifting. And so obviously, owning a business, you want to promote, blah, blah, blah. She's killing it, making waves, breaking junior records, youth records, all kinds of records, right? And I'm saying, Maya, you got to promote yourself more and post more. And one day she looked at me, Daddy, I just want to focus on my training. And it hit me. Like, she goes, that's a distraction. She was so focused. That singular focus blew my mind. And that taught me a lesson. She taught me to say, okay, stop with it. Because at the end of the day, we have this thing, like, everybody wants to be a star, or everybody wants that fame. Everyone wants to build that brand without doing the work. So when she broke records, won championships, it speaks for itself. Everything comes after that. And I really appreciated that, because at the end of the day, the results are in the pudding. And I started to take on that whole personality. I even shut my personal social media down for years. I wasn't on Facebook or Instagram. I just recently got back on it. But, it's just, obviously those things are important to build your business, but sometimes I feel that a lot of times people lose the fact that you have to produce, man. Like, where's your track record? Who have you produced? what athletes have you produced? When, so I love that. She taught me a major lesson, and I've been running with that ever since.
I love it. I'm following you on Instagram, right? For anybody who can see it. So this is your page right here,
Yeah.
right? And it's LPS Athletic, the Pro Maker, right? I love
Yeah.
it. And you're talking about all different things on here. So anybody who needs to just log on, man, and just follow Clance. It's running across the bottom. Just go for it. You're gonna get so much great information on here. Um, so Instagram, social media, all these things are important. And one video that I listened to recently said that we have to be careful when we post on all these things, because if you throw all your stuff on there and they shut it down, you lose everything. So you still need to have your own website. So your website is where all your content should also live, not just don't rely on social media alone. So I'm encouraging everybody to, yes, post on social media, get recognized, but also send people to your website, because that's where you can collect their emails and their information, and they can reach out to you and all these different things. And so that's an important aspect that we have to remember, that social media is owned by someone else. We don't own it, right? So your content, if they shut it down and you only put your content in, then you take it off your phone, it's gone. So you need to have a presence still online. So thank you for sharing that, Clance.
Thank you for sharing that. That's a good reminder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you
Well,
for sharing that.
I wouldn't want you to lose all this important information.
Yeah.
So, and if you ever need to, talk more about that, I'm here to help you, brother. So,
Sure. Appreciate that.
yeah, one of the things that I wake up every morning, and and I said that I got home by 5:30 and so forth, but the whole thing is, and I said it earlier, it's not about who beats who, but who do you beat every day. I try to beat the guy that I was yesterday, right? So that you talked about ever improving every day. So one of my words that I use every day is exceptional, and I'm getting better every day. And sometimes people don't understand. They go, "Oh, were you sick?" I'm like, no. I want to be better than the guy I was yesterday. So therefore I improve. And one of the things that I do is journaling. I do all these things because I understand that legacy is so important. And you're already doing it with your daughters. That's so beautiful, man. I got to tell you, that is such a great thing that you're doing, and that your daughter really jumped on the bandwagon, and she went and she took you along. She said, "Dad, you got me." I love that part. I love that part. What I'd love to do is share a quick video on one of the things that I do, and it's Sifu's Mind Body Method. If you guys are okay, take a look.
You followed the rules, tried the restrictions, counted the carbs, the steps, and the failures. You're not lazy, you're exhausted from doing it all without real change. What if the problem isn't you, but the plan? Sifu's Mind Body Method is a 90-day transformation built on 7 unshakable pillars: mindset, movement, nutrition, hydration, fasting, journaling, and faith. This isn't another shortcut. It's your structure, your strength, your reset. You don't need harder, you need better. Ready to begin? Start today.
So I think that one of the things that you do, and I can tell that you do it, is that you probably take an athlete and you want to make sure that they're going to stick with it, right? Because commitment is a word that gets thrown out there a lot.
Oh
And
yeah.
I've seen it 1,000 times with clients, like, I'm committed, and then cricket, they're not around anymore.
Oh yeah.
How do you handle that aspect when an athlete or somebody who wants to become an athlete starts to train with you?
Well, it's all nurturing and I and but becoming an athlete, that's, you know, that's great, but what type of athlete do you want to become? Like, what do you want out of it? Do you want a scholarship? Do you want to go pro? Do you want to buy your mama a house? What are these things? And so within, you want to be an Olympian, and once you find out that trigger, that underlying purpose, it's very important to find that underlying purpose. And once you find that underlying purpose that drives that athlete, then your communications can always go back to that. Well, if you want this, you have to do this.
Right. Yeah. Love it.
If you want this, well, this is what you got to do. And that's how I always get my athletes. Like, I don't do well with mediocrity, right? So, if you want your goal, these are the steps you have to take with your goal. Obviously, there's going to be obstacles. Obviously, there's going to be roadblocks. But I weed out those athletes who just talk, right? So, and then there's a saying in our gym, like, everybody wants to be a monster until they see what real monsters do, because they might have a goal, and based on their talent or wherever they are in their pool or their sport, it will take a lot of work to get there. And once they see the work and the commitment and dedication, the focus and the discipline that they have to get there, man, it's like, okay, this is not for me.
Right.
I see that all the time. And that's fine, because then I don't waste my time. So I always, from the jump, from the first conversation, I want to know, I try to get to know as much as I can about that athlete. I like to know who their best athletes is. There's always a red flag. Like, I get this, some athletes, so they football or track. Who's your favorite track athlete? Oh, I don't have any. That's a red flag for me. You love track, or you love this, but you don't have a favorite. You don't have somebody that you look up to. And 9 times out of 10, those are the athletes that are not committed, because you usually have some type of, LeBron or Michael Jordan. My son loves Allen Iverson. He loves basketball. The athletes that usually don't have some type of role model, I find they kind of, they fall. They don't understand the commitment. And when they understand the commitment, they say this commitment is not for him. Like PK, his favorite guy was Pavel Bori, an explosive hockey player. So I would use psychology on him. I would, send him Pavel Bori. Actually, he was a Russian, very explosive hockey player. And, he had another guy you love was Bobby Orr. So I use it, and I'll go research that athlete. I didn't know who the hell Pavel Bori was, right? But I got to know it. I was like, wow, this guy is amazing, so explosive. You know what I mean? So you use all those. You have to listen to what your athletes, everything they say. I take that into account, and I use that and tally that. So coaching is consistent. Is listen to their words that come out of their mouth, behavior, in terms of how they behave in the gym, and try to communicate them outside the gym to kind of find out what their personality, because it's also inside and outside. Like, how are they eating? How are they sleeping? Are they playing video games all day? Are they studying film? There's so many things into becoming an elite athlete, right? So my daughter's dream was to become an Olympian. It broke my heart when it just tore me apart when that got taken away from her. But that was her purpose, period. That was her purpose, number one goal. So, and she never gave up before. She would have 2-3 training sessions a day, and, watching her break down. And I would say one day I said, training was getting really hard for preparing for the Worlds. She went to the washroom, broke down. I said, baby, just take the rest of the day off, So I broke as a dad, like,
right.
"No, Daddy, I'm gonna finish." And she ripped up the rest of the next of the training session. You know what I mean? So you learn.
Yeah.
Your athletes teach you a lot. If you, because as coaches, I'm a tough coach, but I try to push my athletes as close to the edge as possible without pushing them off the edge. And to do that, you have to be super observant, not just visually, but what comes out of their mouth.
Yeah. I've been like you. I've been called a doctor or a psychologist because you have to psychoanalyze what they're going through, which is what you're saying, right? And it's not my athletes or the people that I train or anybody, but it's somebody who's observing me. They're like, "You're so patient. How do you even know how to do that with this person? How did you even read them?" I'm like, "Because I'm listening." You said something really important for an athlete, right? And I love what Mike Tyson said. He goes, "Everybody wants to fight until they get punched in the face, or they want to be face, right?"
Yeah, for sure.
Wouldn't it be great if we can take everybody who said, "I want to learn to fight," and then we just okay, hang on 1 second, punch them in the face. Are you still standing? Are you still here? Okay, now we can train, right? I would love to do that as a martial artist, right? But I can't do that, right?
Right.
Without getting sued. But the reality is, are you willing to do the work? And you said something really important is everybody wants to be somebody until they see what the real work is involved. Or they'll see it and they'll go, "I can do it." And then when they get into the trenches, they want to jump out of the trenches. They don't stay in the trenches, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I got to tell you, man, I really appreciate your time today and sharing your knowledge with me and, helping us understand more about what you do for a living. But it's a passion. It's not really a living. It's you living it, and it's you living your passion.
I'm living my dream, man. I'm living my dream. I have my gym. I have coaches. We're building something great, and I'm blessed. So I'm grateful, I'm grateful.
You talked about, Clance, you talked about your system. And I love that because I think that when there's a system, it's easy to implement, right? Because you talked about you have coaches. And so if you have another coach, you go, "This is the system. This is what this athlete needs to go through." And every athlete is different. They need different tools, different ideas, different concepts, different days to train, different everything. But as long as you have a system, it's going to help them. And you talked about PK who helped you create the system. How did you understand that you needed to create a system?
Oh, that's a very, very good question. Because through the journey with PK, because I knew what it took to create a certain athletes and to build a great athlete. And you have athletes, their discipline is hockey or football or whatever. And then, okay, but they need this amount of training, So I had to understand or what will work for like a majority of athletes. Like what's the basics, the foundation, and how is that be implemented? How could I be more effective? So over the years, like I picked so much from different athletes. So Charlie Francis, one of the best who was my head track coach. George Van Zee was my main coach, but I was like the toddlers in that sprint group, if you say, if you will. And I had a great mentor, still have a great mentor. Pierre War he's produced a Canadian silver medalist in the 1988 or 84 Olympics. And then so him, and then Charles Poliquin, who mentored me. So I realized the best coaches, they have some sort of system. And so I stole a lot from these guys and put it together.
Stop. You didn't steal anything. It was research and development. And so you you borrowed.
I borrowed, yeah,
You didn't steal anything.
but I learned, borrowed, observed, and
Of
see
course.
what would work, because I learned from them and I put it together for my system, and that's how I started producing. So at the end of the day, our job is to get athletes results as fast as possible, safe as possible, and that's the key. So that's how I produce. And then once I found all these principles, all these mechanisms, that's what I put it together. So we have a 4-day system, and that is hard because usually living in the gym is not their discipline. They got to go hit a ball, they got to throw a ball, catch a ball, they got to go do their skills work on the ice or on the field. So how do you do that and give them the attributes to be better in their sport? And that's how I developed my system over the years. And it's not easy then teaching the coaches the system, because it's a very complex system. It's an advanced system, right? And the it looks easy on the surface, but when you dig deep, just like you said, every athlete is different. So every athlete has to be treated as an individual within that system. So it's not like just throw them through the system and everybody's doing the same thing. It doesn't work like that. If you're in the strength game doing it, if you want to produce the best athlete, it simply does not work like that.
Yeah. I love a mentor of mine said, Rafael, you're learning a lot from a lot of different people, and you're borrowing their stuff. So I want you to change your frame of mind and say research and development.
I like that. Yeah. But it's true, man. Tons
It is
of research.
true.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Think about anybody who's created anything, even Elon Musk, right? This guy didn't know how to build a rocket, right? So he did research and development. He figured out who's done what, how they're doing it, and let's make it better, right? A lot of people say you can't recreate the wheel, it's already created. But when we stop there, we stop creating. So we can still create a better wheel. We can still create a better system. And when we borrow, right, we're not stealing anything, we're borrowing. And so that's the research part, right? We learned, right? And then we move on.
You're 100% correct, because I'm still researching and developing.
Oh, yes, you are.
I'm still trying to optimize, make the system better. You know what I mean?
Yes,
so it's never, if you're passionate about results and providing the best for your athletes, it never stops. You research and development never ever stops. I don't care what field you're in, things are changing so fast that you always have to verify, validate. Is this still working? Does this make sense? Could I use that? Should I take out this? You're always tinkering, experimenting, training. Like my gym is my lab. That's a research and development center. Everything data is the mother of our gym. So every input and output I calculate. So I know if you're not doing the work, you cannot come to my gym and say you're not getting stronger, you're not getting faster. Period. That means you're not doing something.
Right. You're sitting on the bench.
it just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It just doesn't. Right. So that's how confident, because we're about that research and development. I teach my coaches to be about that research and development. We have communications input. How can we make this better? Because a lot of times my perspective, I'm an old head and been in the game so long. These young kids come out of school, they have different perspectives, and so I'm always open to seeing what they say. It's not just my way or no way. It's just always communicating, sharing information, how we can optimize. But the biggest thing is, does it get results or not? No results, it's gone. Results, I'll keep it. That's it.
Yeah, I love what you just said, that results are what really matters, right? And you talk about a growth mindset, because somebody who says it's my way or the highway doesn't have the growth mindset, because there may be a better way to do something. and why not listen to it? And sometimes it's somebody who's very young, and they'll just say a word or they'll do a thing. You go, wait a minute, wow, right? I know what you know what I'm talking about, right?
I know exactly what you're saying. I'll tell you a story, quick story.
Let's go.
I have an athlete, and the athlete is not getting the results I want. So I'm trying this and I'm trying that. And then my daughter, she's 12 years old. And so we're watching my son play basketball. And I'm telling my daughter the problem. Like, she doesn't know, like, whatever, but she trains, she does her thing every day. And then I told her what the problem is. Like, I need to get this athlete squat up, right? And so I'm saying, I think I should do this. I think I should do that. She looks at me, she goes, Daddy, why don't you just make her squat more? Oh my gosh. And that's, you know what I mean? Sometimes we get so far in the weeds and science that we just forget. Like, it just seems pretty much simple to her. And guess what? That's what I did, and it worked. Crazy.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm enjoying this conversation so much. I need to have you come on my other shows, but before we do that, let me just share one more video with everybody. Take a look.
The city never sleeps, and neither do the dreamers who build its pulse. From every corner of the globe they come. Visionaries, creators, leaders, each carrying a spark ready to ignite the world. This is not an event. It's a revolution of rhythm and reason. A symphony of minds. A movement of momentum. Sifu Rafael, Clance Laylor, Escobar. Together they set the stage for brilliance. This is the NYC experience. Mastermind, light up the city. They coming from the east, coming from the west. Knowledge on deck, put the truth to the test. Leaders in motion, hearts in sync, dropping wisdom so deep it'll make you think. They bring stories, sweat and flame, different faces, one shared name. Elevation, that's the sound. NYC experience, mastermind, where purpose is found.
Yo, man, I love that promo, man. I love that promo.
I move every time I listen.
I love that promo. Oh, that's crazy. It's a nice beat.
One day you'll need to come and join us. I mean, we're having the next one in February 27th through March 1st, and that's going to be in Tampa, Florida. If you want to get away from the cold, come join us.
Yeah, I'd love to.
We're going to do Ireland. We're going to do Chicago. We're going to do Atlanta. So we're going to have a lot of great activities that are going to be happening. And we love bringing incredible people like yourself, people who are world leaders, if you think changers, right? Because the way you train people, you're making them better. And I'm going to ask you one last question, then we have to wrap it up. What are your thoughts on the difference of athletes? And you talked about the old goats in bodybuilding to the athletes today. What is the difference? They have a lot more tools they can use, but sometimes we have to go back to the basics. Like your daughter said, just make them squat, right? So what is the difference that you notice in athletes today compared to back when you started training?
That's a very good question. I think, listen, man, I love information, and but I think one of the things that's the difference with athletes today is that they're exposed to so much information and because information is it puts us into this, like, or they're exposed to a lot of instant gratification. It's two things: a lot of information without context or background, and instant gratification. A lot of times that will get into the athlete's head and it derails them, right? And there's a coach that I really respect. His name is Ciro Abanez, and we were at a training camp, and we were just talking about the athletes of today and social media and blah blah blah, and all this information by these so-called experts that there are true experts and there's experts that people, they're saying all these things, but they have no results, no roster of athletes that they've actually built from the young age to pro level or whatever level. And but these young kids, they're impressionable. They don't know. You can't blame them. And that's the difference, because you need that athlete with blinders on. And you know, two athletes, and there's many more, but I'm just picking two, like because PK had blinders on. It's like whatever I said, he did. Case closed. My daughter, blinders. So he said, Clance, you need to build racehorses with blinders on. I never forgot that. So with my communication with the athletes, it's very difficult. And you can't be that coach. I think the old days of just do what I tell you, don't question me, are over. You need to be able, you have to be able to intelligently communicate what, you know, where they're going, why they have to do this, because they're, you know, and especially when your athlete hits the pro level, you build them to the pro, and all of a sudden they get to the pro, they're changing everything that actually got them there. That's another story, right? So freaking drives me crazy, story, right? So to sum it up, the athletes of today are more, it's not about intelligence. They just have so much information that they don't know how to process. That's the difference.
They have information overload, right?
Information, there you go. Information overload. And what do you want them to do? Like if they're obsessed about something, they're going to try to figure out. And a lot of times they don't know how to decipher good information with bad information. And to me, that's the difference with the athletes today. Hopefully I'm answering your question.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. Absolutely right on, dead on. And it's also applied knowledge is different than just knowledge, right? Because you can show them how to do it, but if they don't do it, it's a waste.
There you go. Yeah,
it's a waste. Clance, I am so happy and blessed that you said yes to being on my show today. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
A lot of fun. You know, I enjoyed this.
Yeah, pleasure meeting you, man. Pleasure. It was great. Had a great time. Yes, you're a great host. That's very thoughtful questions. Thank you.
I appreciate it. So before we go, I want everybody to connect with you. So you got 45 minutes to a minute. Tell everybody, about your Instagram. Obviously, I'm following you because I see greatness in front of me.
Yeah.
And so why should somebody follow you? And then obviously your Instagram is going across the bottom, right? LPS Athletic at Instagram. So it's easy to go there. I already put it in the chat. So everybody just grab the link, go there, follow Clance, and also tell us exactly where you live, because maybe there's an athlete near you who maybe they need to take the bus, or maybe their parents can drive them to you. But where are you located exactly? And what's the name of your gym so people can come find you? So go for it.
We're located in North York, 125 Martin Ross in North York, and Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And my IG is LPS Athletic, and our YouTube is LPS Athletic, website LPS Athletic. We also have Amazon international best-selling book called Dominate. I urge everyone who wants to be an athlete, or who wants to kind of up their level in terms of cutting through the nonsense and understanding what it really takes to be a high performer. It just basically tells you hard work, but that book was born out of frustrations. There's a lot of parents are just cash grabs for most, a lot. And it just, because they don't know, they're not, a lot of them are not ex-athletes. So it just helped them cut through the the noise that we see. So I'm really proud of that book. And I think I said YouTube as well, LPS Athletic. So everywhere is pretty much LPS Athletic.
Yeah, I love it.
LPS Athletic. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody make sure you connect with Clance. Do me a favor. Somebody needs to listen to this show. Somebody who didn't catch it live. That's okay. It'll be on the replay. Go to my YouTube. Go to my Facebook. Facebook only keeps it for 30 days, but hey, what can I say? It's going to live on YouTube. It's going to live on my website. So here's the cool thing. Share it with somebody, because so many incredible pieces of information were shared today. They're not golden nuggets. They're billions. They're big pieces of information that came at you today. So do yourself a favor, share it with a friend, share it with a family member. You never know how this show can impact somebody's life. So thank you. Go for it.
I just want to say, because you said, I didn't say, if one thing that they can learn from it, everybody has some ability, talent, and so on and so on. But what separates is the mindset.
That's right.
Is the mindset. So we work a lot on the mind. The good from the great, the exceptional athletes are usually the ones with a strong mental fortitude, right? So that book Dominate is about that. It's not talking about it, it's being about it, and the importance of just discipline, doing things that you don't want to do, but you do it anyway, and do it like you love it. So that's what people are gonna, I guess, get from us. To me is the most important things. And yes, power, speed, durability, how to train, nutrition, all those things, which is great. But at the end of the day, is if you want to succeed, you want to be successful, is just get up and doing those things consistently daily. That's just who we are.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, mindset without a doubt, because if you have to put your mind to do something, right? You have to be that power being that you want to be, because there's two lives that we lead, right? It's the current life and the one we want to have. Yes. And then what's the disconnection? And the disconnection is your dedication. So you got to be dedicated to you. So appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you too, man.
Don't go away. I'm just going to say goodbye to everybody, and we will see everybody on the next one. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.